This story happened when I was in high school. And even now, years later, I still think about it. People love to say the Ouija board is just a game, cardboard and plastic. Nothing more. But the night we played with it, something happened that I can't explain. And ever since then, I haven't touched one again. It was a Friday night. Me and 3 of my closest friends, Mark, Jenna, and Chris, were hanging out at my house. We were bored. No one had a car yet, so we were stuck inside, just talking, playing video games, and messing around with old boxes in the upstairs closet. That's when Jenna pulled something out, covered in dust. It was an old Ouija board. We all laughed. I mean, you always hear about these things, but none of us actually believed in it. Still, Jenna dared us to try it. And someone, probably Chris, said we should take it down to the basement. That was mistake number 1. My basement was unfinished. Concrete floor, wooden stairs, a kind of place that's always colder than the rest of the house. We set the board on the ground and turned off the lights, leaving only one candle burning in the center of the circle. We placed our hands on the planchette, half smiling, half nervous. I remember thinking, this is dumb. Nothing's gonna happen. But when Jenna asked the first question, is anyone here with us? The planchette moved. At first, I thought it was one of them pushing it. But I could feel the pull. It was smooth, deliberate. It slid to yes. We all looked at each other, swearing we weren't the ones doing it. Then it started to spell, letter by letter. A name, none of us recognized it. And when we asked who it was, the answer chilled me. I'm in the room. The candle flickered, and I swear, for half a second, I saw something move in the far corner of the basement. We should have stopped there. But of course, being dumb teenagers, we kept going. We asked, "What do you want?" The planchette started sliding again. Slower this time. G-E-T-O-U-T. The words spelled themselves out, clear as day. Get out. Right then, the basement door slammed shut. The candle blew out, and the room went completely dark. We all screamed. I could hear Jenna breathing fast, Chris cursing under his breath. And then, in the darkness, we heard it, a scraping sound. It came from under the stairs, like something dragging across the concrete, slow and heavy. We didn't wait to see what it was. We bolted, scrambling up the stairs in total panic, shoving against the door until it finally burst open. We tumbled into the hallway, gasping for air. Every light in the house suddenly feeling like safety. When we finally calmed down, we decided to check the basement again. When we looked down the stairs, everything looked normal. The Ouija board was still sitting on the floor, the planchette perfectly in the center, like it had never moved at all. We didn't touch it again, We didn't even throw it away. We just left it there and avoided the basement for weeks. To this day, none of us can explain what happened. The scraping sound, the door slamming shut, the candle blowing out. Some people say it was just our imagination, or maybe one of my friends messing with us. But deep down, I know the truth. We weren't alone in that basement, and I'll never put my hands on a Ouija board again, because once you open that door, you don't always get to choose what comes through. This story happened back when I was in college. I lived in a small off-campus apartment with my roommate, and one night we decided to buy a Ouija board. At first, it was just supposed to be a joke, something to kill time, laugh about, and maybe creep ourselves out. But what happened that night was no joke. It was late, maybe close to midnight. We turned off the lights, lit a couple candles, and set the board on the coffee table. We both placed our hands on the planchette, trying not to laugh. I asked the first question, "Is anyone here with us?" For a long moment, nothing happened. Then slowly, the planchette moved. It spelled out a single word. Yes, I thought my roommate was pushing it. But when I looked at her, she was pale. Her hands were barely touching the planchette. I asked, "Who are you?" It moved again, faster this time. Letter by letter, it spelled, "Soldier." We glanced at each other, suddenly very still. I asked, "How did you die?" The planchette dragged slowly across the board. WAR. My heart was pounding now. We asked, "What do you want?" The planchette circled, then spelled it out. Not safe. Right as it hit the E, every light in the apartment flickered, and the planchette shot off the board like someone had slapped it out of our hands. We freaked out and shoved the board back into the box, laughing nervously. But inside, I felt sick. That night, I had one of the most vivid dreams of my life. I was lying in bed, but I couldn't move. At the foot of the bed, standing perfectly still, was a man. He was dressed in an old military uniform. His face was pale, his eyes dark. He didn't say a word. He just stared. When I finally jolted awake, my room was ice cold and my heart was racing. The next morning, I told my roommate about the dream. She froze. She said she had the exact same one. The same soldier, the same silent stare, the same feeling of dread. We never touched that Ouija board again. We eventually threw it out. But even now, years later, I still wonder what he meant when he spelled out "not safe." Was he warning us about the board? Or something worse? This story comes from when I was a teenager. I used a Ouija board with some friends at a sleepover. And I think we invited something into my house. And the worst part is, I don't think it ever fully left. There were 4 of us. We sat in a circle on the bedroom floor. Lights off, candles lit. We put our fingers on the planchette, giggling nervously, not expecting anything. When we asked, "Is anyone here?" it moved to yes. It spelled out a name, a girl's name. When we asked how old she was, it spelled 10. At first, it seemed almost sweet, like we were talking to a lonely child. But then, when we asked what she wanted, the board spelled, "Let me in." The room went completely silent. That's when one of the girls screamed and yanked her hands away. We all decided to stop right there. At first, nothing happened. We laughed it off, put the board away, and went back to watching movies. But over the next few weeks, I started noticing little things in my house. At night, I'd hear faint giggling when no one else was home. My bedroom door would creak open on its own, and my little brother's toys would move even when he wasn't playing with them. I told myself it was just my imagination, but then it got worse. One night, I woke up around 3 a.m. The room was dark, but my door was open, and in the doorway was a small figure, a girl no taller than 4 feet. She was just standing there, motionless. I thought it was my sister, so I whispered her name, but the figure didn't move. It just stood there. I reached for the lamp and flicked it on, and the hallway was empty. That's when I noticed something even worse. The Ouija board, the same one we had hidden away in the closet, was now sitting in the middle of the hallway floor. We got rid of the board the very next day, threw it out in a dumpster across town. But for months afterward, the activity didn't stop. I'd wake up in the middle of the night to the sound of whispering. I'd feel the weight of something sitting on the edge of my bed. And sometimes, in the dark, I swear I could hear that same faint, childlike giggle. I don't know what we let in that night, but I know one thing for sure. Once you open a door with a Ouija board, you don't always get to choose what comes through.